Welcome to Lesson 5 of Fusion 360. This module will be on basic 3D construction tools. I know, about time, right? The tools we're going to go over are extrude, revolve, sweep, loft, and a bonus push and pull. Most of the tools are under the Create tab, but push and pull is under the Modify tabs. The thing to know about the Extrude tool is that it requires a sketch. So when I mouse over these, you'll see that there are shapes that are made. And what the Extrude tool does is that it takes that shape and it stretches it out into a third dimension. Imagine that shape as a hole in the end of a pastry bag if you were cake decorating, or if you've ever had the Play-Doh Fun Factory. It's all that concept. Extrusion is done in ceramics. You can extrude metals. Mostly aluminum is a common extrusion. It's the same concept. So if I go to Create, I have my sketch. I go to Create, and I say Extrude. You can also just use E. It'll ask me to select a profile, and it'll also ask for a direction. Since we have this part of the razor blade is thicker than this part, what I'm going to do is I am going to select just this part. And I actually want it to go in both directions. I could, let me get a better angle. I could just stretch it out one way or stretch it out another way, but we have the option here of choosing a symmetric. So I'm going to extrude out. 1 inch is a lot for the thickness of a razor blade. I'm going to go 0.5. And operation, we want a new body here. And what a body is a three-dimensional form. We have sketches, which are the 2D forms, and then bodies are 3D forms. All right, so I'm going to hit OK. And now I have that top piece. Notice my sketches disappeared. It does that by default. I'm going to turn that back on because what I'm going to do is I'm going to repeat that extrusion. And I'm going to select this one. I'm going to do two-sided again, symmetric. But instead of doing 0.5, I'm going to do a distance of 0.25. And instead of a new body, I want it to join. I want it to combine with this one right here and be the same piece. I'm going to hit OK. And now I have a three-dimensional razor blade. That is the Extrude tool. Okay, the next tool we'd like to do is Revolve. And I'm going to make a new sketch for this one. All right, so let's use a spline for this. I'm going to come from the origin, and I'm going to come out a ways, down a little, up, and I'm going to go for just kind of a organic shape here. Double click on the end. So that's a spline. We did that in lesson 1. Just a quick little aside, what we can do is do an offset for this. What that allows us to do is we can select the curve. So we're going to select that curve right there. And notice this little in and out. We can, I'm going to go out with it actually. And that's going to make another line right next to it. Then I'm going to join those lines with another line. Well, join the splines with the line. Ain't that fine? All right, we got that one. We got this one. I'd like this line to be collinear with this axis here, the green line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make just a line segment right here. Hit OK. Get out of that tool. So that's blue right now. I'm going to select it, hit X. It's now a construction line. And now what I can do is I can make this line here collinear with this so that this piece is on axis with this, and you'll see in a minute why I'm going to do that. So that's collinear with that. I said with that. There we go. And see if I can drag that back over. Oh, that's okay. All right. So now that we have a shape like this, what we can do, finish sketch, we are going to do a revolve. So create, revolve, and again, it brings up a menu, and there's what you want to select. So we're going to select the profile we want. That's our profile. What this does is it takes a shape and extrudes it in a circle or in a certain number of degrees. So I want to select the center axis right here. And because we have it set to 360 degrees and the operation's a new body, we instantly have a vase. Now we don't have to do 360 degrees. We can do 90 degrees. And now we have a wedge-shaped vase. We don't have to choose that as a pivot point. We can offset that. Say we select this sketch and turn that back on. Say we move this whole thing over. Oops, forgetting my lessons already. Say we move this whole thing over, except I have it constrained. See? Right there, because I started from that end. Oh, and it's also collinear. So I'm going to select that and delete, mouse over, left click, delete, mouse over, delete. One of these might be the collinear to this, and so that might break it, but I think it's going to all move together. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this. We're going to shift and remove that. We're going to move it. We're just going to slide it over a bit. Just like that. And so now, when we do our revolve, instead of a, let's see, profile one selected, axis, we're going to select this axis. And then we're going to go full 360 this time. Oh, I see. That was type. There we go. Full. So now we have an open figure as opposed to the closed closed bottom figure because it doesn't go all the way, it didn't go all the way across to the center point. And you can do this with any shapes, any sketches. Because there's some overlap, it's asking if I want to do a cut. I'm just going to say new body. And so notice now we have bodies up here in this upper left hand, on the left hand side here. We can take a look at what bodies we have. So that should give us a second body. So we have the first example here. And the second example here. That is revolve. Next tool is sweep. And once again, we're going to start with the sketch. This one requires 2 axes. So we'll start here. We'll make a circle. C for circle. Click and drag just a little bit. We're going to finish the sketch. We're going to rotate our view so that when we go create new sketch, we're now looking at a different axis. So we're going to go 90 degrees to that axis. Now we're going to make a line. So we're going to come up. And then I'm going to click and drag for an arc. And then mouse wheel to zoom out. Center wheel click to pan. And I'm going to come out, and then I'm going to curve the other way. And then we'll finish that. So now what we have when I hit finish sketch is a circle and a curved line. So under create, I will go to sweep. And it's asking for the type. Let's stick with single path for now. Profile, we're going to select the profile that we want to sweep, and then we want to select the path upon which we sweep it. And it will be this one right here. And so what that does is that it takes this circle and it extrudes it along this path. It doesn't like it if the path has tighter bends, which would force the profile to fold in on itself. So you might get an error on that if you get a little too crazy with your bends. But other than that, you can choose all kinds of different options. And that is sweep. Now we're going to do loft. So instead of 2 sketches perpendicular to each other, we're going to want 2 sketches that are parallel to each other. So I'm going to select this plane, and we are going to make a circle. And let's do it from the center here. All right, enter, enter. So we have a circle. Now we're going to offset plane, and we're going to have a working plane that's up here. And so now when I create sketch, I can select that plane. And now I'm not going to make a circle here. I'm going to make a line, a curve, a line, a curve, a line, and a curve. So this weird kind of triangle shape thing. Okay, we're going to finish that sketch. So now what we have is 2 different shapes on parallel planes. They don't actually have to be on parallel planes, but for the sake of simplicity, I'm going to demonstrate it as such. And so now we're going to create a loft, and we're going to select the first profile, and we're going to select the second profile. And it's going to make a shape that starts at the circle and smoothly transitions to the shape at the top. And you can do this with holes in it. You can do this with all different kinds of shapes, and you can even do this with guide rails, so you can be sort of like a combination between a sweep and a loft. So yeah, lots of possibilities with that one. That is loft. Now we're going to do push and pull, although before I do push and pull, I'm going to show you what extrude looks like on an existing piece. So the profile, I can just select this top plane, and we can bring this up and extrude that face. We could change the angles that happens at. So we can get tapers. But basically, it's working with that face as if the rest of it wasn't there before. What you can do with press pull is I can select that face, and now look what happens is that it continues the path that was there previously. And if I wasn't afraid of blowing up my computer, I could try to select one of these faces as well for a push-pull. But these contours are a little bit complicated for a push-pull. Modify, press pull, click on that, and theoretically I could pull that out, but as you can see, it's got some undercuts and it's having some issues. But that is push-pull. So what I would like you to do for the exercises is I would like you to do 4 of each operation. Make different shapes, use shapes that you already have, and try revolve with different types of, with different axes, different shapes, sweeps, lofts, and push and pull. And yeah, 4 of each. Thank you.